Greetings, folks, and welcome to the Town Hall of May 23rd, 2020. We're back at it again at Krispy Kreme, boys. We're discussing pretty much the same thing, what to do about the groups. DeviantArt has become pretty limiting for the admins that run groups in the fact that there's this you have to enter this voting submission process through the log, so we're figuring out all the alternatives we can.
Complicated workaround. It's just involving using I think there was one particular link that we had to use, and it was relatively hidden, I guess, but it
Not
works,
an
but
often
it's not
traveled
very
road.
good. Yeah, not
Yeah.
only that, there's been a lot of functionalities that have been removed, and now Eclipse is upon us. So we basically have to kind of start thinking about that stuff now.
It's definitely a little difficult because, as I said last town hall, there will not be another DeviantArt. The way the way the administration was structured in DeviantArt was pretty simple, straight to the point, and really nice. And now the Eclipse has come, it's all kind of worked around. So there's not a lot of alternatives that we can really think of. I mean, aside from Pixiv, but that requires, a premium subscription. So the reason why we're having this town hall is so that way we can get maybe like more input on where we could go, what we could do to combat this, and just search for better alternatives. There's not a lot out there. It's a little difficult for sure.
Pixiv
All of
has
the
gotten a
things that we
bit
used
more
to have.
English friendly, by the way, just
Yeah,
responding to the comment.
yeah.
It's gotten a
Pixiv
lot more English
has.
friendly, and the support as well is actually really good, or so I've heard. So better than you'd think. But at least on the back end, we've sort of worked out how the submission process is going to sort of work, at least in the planning steps of that. This is, of course, after someone decides to become Pixiv Premium, assuming we don't already have one of those people in the group right now. Essentially, how it's going to work is people are going to submit to the group as normal, but I don't know off the top of my head if there's a Pixiv API, but if there is, that would be super convenient. But essentially, there would be a new channel for actually voting for submissions. We haven't really decided for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's only going to really be seen by us, so that way we can actually vote on submissions similar to what we did in the DeviantArt. And essentially, if it gets free thumbs up, as it did in the DeviantArt group, will auto repost it to a different channel that everyone can see, which is basically containing all of the accepted group submissions. That essentially makes this shift over because, well, I'm pretty sure there isn't a submission process on Pixiv in terms of groups. So it basically shifts the DeviantArt voting side of things over to a more Discord based approach, while Pixiv still hosts it.
It certainly isn't a bad idea. I think the option of being able to submit to a Discord group and having that go through approval would be really nice. Since not Discord, since Pixiv does not have those options necessarily.
We've heard suggestions for Reddit before, but that didn't work out for various reasons that we kind of discussed last town hall, but
In short,
anyone can
Reddit
probably give a
is
reminder about that.
region blocked.
But anyways, besides Pixiv and Reddit, are there actually any other suggestions? I hope there's an API for whatever you're suggesting. I'll check just to be sure. For the record, a Boru has been suggested, as I'm remembering this, but I think the process of approving is similar. It's just also the issue of copyright, if I were to take it. And in order to quote unquote advertise whatever site we use, we would
Yeah.
basically just post one final DeviantArt journal on the whole, because a majority of our user base is still probably either using DeviantArt or is going to migrate away from DeviantArt, but will still eventually check. Like odds are, if they're following the script, they'd get a notification in some extent. So that's going to be our pseudo. Okay, then. assuming that means that nobody else has any like real ideas about where else potential options would be. Uh, Giant list. Reddit is not considered because of region blocking. ArtStation is the website that we're currently using. Custom website hosting is expensive. Or site, very similar. It's a marginally better option, and Sivo will advocate that to hell and back. He will fight for the borer's sake, I'm pretty sure, considering how often he's mentioned it. But
Oh yeah.
I think we ultimately decided against it. Pixiv has the group issue, yes, the whole subtractive moderation, but on the bright side, their subtractive moderation is apparently quite quick. Amino. No, I don't think Amino is just a good option in. There's a website for it. There's a website for Amino as well as a mobile phone.
There really isn't a good option, is there? I mean, without requiring to pay
It's
money.
unfortunate. And that really is kind of the catch-22 that we're presented here, because DeviantArt was extremely good for this whole thing. It was designed to be an art-sharing website by the community at its finest.
Now it's a
But,
ripoff art
yeah.
station.
Yeah, now it can't be helped.
It
So,
can't be helped.
So I'd imagine that makes Pixip best option by association, probably. Pixip submissions are posted to Pixip, Discord bot scans for specific tags. Prop storage is still up for debate. Lost Ray apparently stored a lot of the props, if not all of the props, somewhere. So
It's,
if you can get an archived thing for walfas props, then I salute you.
you should go on
Just
archive.org.
because I believe they'll just because I believe like you can get in touch with one of the people and they might actually do it. Nick Robinson, was that his name? The person who takes a trip to Japan every 2 seconds. That guy. That's who I'm thinking of.
That certainly sounds
In his
familiar.
in his sort of Miku pizza video, he actually managed to get the Domino's featuring Hatsune Miku pizza app onto archive.org. So it's not impossible to store Walfas props on archive.org, or at least a big collection of them, but good luck.
It isn't too hard to upload stuff to
Oh,
archive.org.
if it isn't too hard, then direct
Looks
Lost Ray to there and just have him upload the compendium.
Google Drive was mentioned before, I believe. Any particular drawbacks for Google Drive other than Google?
You have to link everything,
Yeah, that is true.
Also, Google.
and nobody's gonna be able to find it on a public domain.
So I would guess that either Google Drive or GitUploader would be our best options for actually hosting props. And in the case of a GitHub repository, considering github.io is basically build your own website, we would run into the exact same problems as if we would have a custom website at all. So I guess for stuff, we'd probably have to use Pixif, but for prop storage, we'd probably be perfectly okay with using GitHub. But again, that would require registering a custom domain name, I think. Technically, if we were to register it under the name of Wolfa Station Wagon, in terms of like the username of this GitHub account, it would be registered as wolfastationwagon.github.io, which therein lies the actual. Is it copyright? As a whole, I wouldn't exactly go with the whole github.io option unless there was like no other. Just call nothing else. But at the same time, it would still be kind of skirting around copyright anyway because you're still using Kirby Owens materials. It's big mess. Big mess. Yeah, therein lies the single then it would be fine, but at the same time, GitHub repo for props is probably just going to be the best option overall.
What about hosting the prop downloads in a Discord channel? You submit a zip file, brief title to say what it is, and a preview image. Then one can use Discord search feature to look for props you want. Also, not an optimal solution, and it does require being in the Discord server.
That's basically what we're kind of props as it. At least I would hope that people are doing that in Walfas props as it. Assuming, of course, you actually post them in the Discord channel and not to DA, but that's an entirely different can of worms. I guess that's what we're doing, right? Handle basically everything like art-wise in terms of Walfas on Pixif. Handle anything in
Yeah.
terms of prop storage on the GitHub. that seems to be what we're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Effectively, we've come up with an okay-ish plan. It's not one that truly replaces DeviantArt, but it's one that actually might work, so I'd say that's okay. Pixiv for everything else, and GitHub for props. Guess that's good.
Yeah. We were gonna move to
And the
Pixiv
best
anyways,
part
let's be
is both of those
honest.
APIs. Yeah, we were planning on moving to Pixiv anyway, so it all works out. Even though Pixiv isn't exactly the greatest option from a moderation standpoint in terms of us. Okay, we'll use it.
Sounds good.
Just since I guess I've become the lead now, are there any other topics that we actually need to bring up?
Despite saying I was gonna stay out, I feel like I have an important proposal. Not as a member, but a general officer.
Yeah, so I was thinking that when the Walfas station wagon originally started, we didn't have any sort of centralized group. In fact, the original thing was it was a bunch of separate creators that were helping each other out with their own projects, and that was about it. And then later, we got the idea, hey, what if we also made comics in addition to videos? And that's how we ended up centralizing on DeviantArt. But at the same time, all of us were kind of stuck in a thing where instead of like advertising our projects to YouTube or to other people or showing it to others, we're just only showing it to the people within our own groups. And then we're wondering why none of our projects are getting any publicity. So I'm thinking, why not just make a decentralized version of like what we used to have, where we help each other out, but the goal is we post it on whatever website we want. Like if someone wants to post it on Twitter, they post on Twitter. If someone posts on Facebook, they post on Facebook or Reddit or YouTube. It's just we mainly come here to discuss our ideas, but then we like send it out into the public. And like I'm the kind of guy, I'm basically the devil's advocate when it comes to saying that Walfus is supposedly a niche thing. I say if you make decent content and make it enough, it's not niche. People are going to want to jump in on it. So yeah, it's just make content and make enough of it on a consistent time basis, make it consistently, and you won't need to worry about it being niche or worry about where to put it. Nowadays, we're kind of all like stuck in one place and not a lot of the groups are getting along. In fact, it's at this point it's basically just the station wagon and the guild hall and that's it. So I was thinking like
So,
if we were
like, more
decentralized, yeah, something like more groups, but not quite. But more groups, but we can easily link to each other's groups. Like if you go into like the heart of the Toho community, there's a thing called the Gap where they have links to all the different Toho servers. So you could jump from one Toho server to another and to another and like join as many as you want. So I'm thinking we could have something similar to that, but specifically for the Walfus community. Like I know Minnie has a Discord. I know Raymu and Shirno has a Discord. I know STK Productions has a Discord. A lot of people have their own Discords. Even I have one for a project that's fallen by the wayside. But yeah, if we could find a way to like, I guess, make a central hub of Walfus projects, then we could maintain our own groups but still be connected.
let's actually just discuss that later because it's probably better to just work out such actual details in a bit more than just kind of actually make an announcement about it and then.
Anyways, are we moving on to the next topic, I guess? Because we've basically discussed a fair bit about this now. But
Yeah. I'd say it's a good call to move on.
I guess we can make a quick summation then. We have the idea to have all our media uploads on Pixiv, and mainly be here on the Discord with a bot acting in between. A GitHub repository for Walfas assets, such as your props. And then there's the idea of creating a more decentralized network to connect the community together. Is that pretty much correct?
Yep, though it's still a work in progress.
all right then. So I guess if there are absolutely no other discussions, we can move on to projects and announcements.